Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your HUT lineup decisions. Sorry for the delay in Who Should You Choose videos. I did an impromptu 48-hour stream over the weekend. Shout out to anyone that came through. It was fun, but also extremely long, and I don't know how many more of those I got left in me. But nonetheless, I need to catch up on Who Should You Choose, so we're going to jump into just some of the more recent comments, and then we'll get back into it for the normal way where we go through and the most liked and all of that in the next one. So that being said, I do want to mention, sir, we're going to make an impromptu start here. A lot of people are asking about Team of the Season and things like that. Just judging on the past, I would have to assume that Team of the Season is the next event. I don't know if they would make it where Team of the Season literally starts after the end of the season, because we're kind of getting into that territory. So for anyone that has not played NHL or isn't aware of how Team of the Season works a lot like Team of the Year. Instead of it only being 6 players, it is a full entire team, sometimes multiple teams of players, where they get cards that you can then use, and every time a new card for that player comes out, the overall jumps up to meet that highest rated card for free with no upgrade cost. So obviously, some of the more sought after cards, and usually it is kind of like the end of the NHL or whatever Ultimate Team season, simply because it is kind of the end of that season. But nonetheless, it is the last big event, and I do assume that it comes out this week. Again, just looking at last year, I believe last year it came out in March, but it usually ends right before the end of the season so that the playoff event can kick in and all of that. So it does look like that is what's on the horizon. So let's get into the first question. We've got Jay says, "Hey, Sleeves, I pulled the 92 Cornerstone Lemieux out of the 4x79 plus pack. I'm not sure if I should trade him in with another 92 MSP to make a 93 or just save him for Team of the Season. Here's my team. He's got Warp Speed Garen, Warp Speed Madonna, and Warp Speed Bondra. Took a lot of advantage of that event. McKinnon, Linden, and McDavid. Ovechkin, Crosby, Larkin, Lemieux. We got Repo. Oh, Repo, tough one. And Kucherov. Right here, your team is kind of just, I don't want to say it's a bad thing because your team is fantastic, but you're just locked in. Like, I don't know who you're going to replace with anyone, because the Warp Speed guys are all better than the current cards that are out, and Team of the Year cards and Team Builder cards, they're not being replaced by an MSP from this event. Not that the 93s are better than a lot of these cards, but the investment was just so high that you don't want to replace them. Just judging on your team here, he said this is his first year doing HUT, no money spent, and I don't know if it's smart. Wow, also great team for no money spent. I don't know if it's smart to not make an MSP or save. I'm 2 to 3 levels from level 50, which will get rid of Larkin. I'm a Pens fan, which is why I have Crosby and Lemieux working on his X-Factor. I've really enjoyed your content for a couple years now. I wish you the best. Thanks. Keep the good work. Since you pulled a 92 for free, here is what I would consider. Saving for a actually, you already have Lemieux. You have the hologram Lemieux. Saving for a event when you have a 92 MSP, that value is so much higher than what you'll need. Like, I think the big issue with Team of the Season is that we have no idea how it's going to work. So there's no way to really prepare. I don't know if it's going to work. Like the prior 2 events or 3 events now where it's like trading 85s, getting event 87, trading an event 87. I think Team of the Year, how that worked was you were able to make the base Team of the Year player item, and then you had to trade that in to, you know, with other cards to get the master set player item. I think in your situation you make a 93. One of the things to consider is that you could do the math on how much it would cost to make one, because you could just buy one of the 92s like Forsberg or Pronger. I think. Again, you don't want to spend like the 300,000 coins or whatever, but you have to do the math on what that would be. That's probably the best way to go in this situation, because yeah, you pulled a 92 Cornerstone Lemieux. Like, that is a massive value because you only need one more 92 to make a 90. You know, that 92 is essentially the same cost as like a 90 overall base item, right? If you were to just trade it into that Team of the Season set. So I would probably make an MSP. Yes. Honestly, it's been the worst year of HUT since they switched to PS4. I'm trying to think of like some of the years. Again, this was clearly like a data year. I'm gonna call it that, where not a burn year or a beta year. Like, they're clearly collecting data throughout the entire year to go into next year with all the new stuff, like the from a tech standpoint, like the XP path, things like that, wild card, all of that, all of like team builders, how they work, X factors, how many people are making those. So the issue is that we just kind of have to endure it. You know, I mean, it's a video game. You don't have to endure anything, but it is your main game. Obviously, it has been pretty tough. NHL 23 was really bad with the glitch wrap, like from a gameplay standpoint. That it like, but the content was a bit better. It is. I try not to. I'm trying really hard to not compare like MLB and NHL. But the one thing that MLB does do very well is that they will make drastic decisions based on community feedback and not really worry about making drastic changes. They will just okay, this is where the data is going. We're gonna revert to this, and they do need a shakeup. It is very cookie cutter in how these events work. It has been like that for a decade. And this year they try to change things for the sake of changing. And it's almost like because they don't have the tech currently to drastically change how content is delivered, which is kind of crap because the XP Pass should be that new tech required. But it's like it's been figured out how to maximize the interest in content. And they're just like, okay, we need to change things because we need to make it more interesting. We need to improve content, but they don't have the ability to deliver that content in a new, fresh way, right? So you've got the prior content teams where they have spent a decade trying to min-max and figure out, okay, these are the ways that we can release content. What's the best way to do it? That's what I think has happened here. And I'm hoping that they take all of the data they've received. So like seeing what sets are made, what ones aren't, all that kind of stuff will then drive the improvement next year. I don't have a lot of faith in that because it's a year-over-year game, but that's my hope. Does anyone else know or have a reason as to why Bure hasn't been in the game for almost a decade? I think, was he in NHL 17 or 18? This is not an EA problem. So they send out an email to put their likeness in the game. They do this all the time with alumni and things like that. It's on the player to sign it and be in the game. Bure just doesn't really care, doesn't want to be in the game. But it's not an EA thing because I've seen like the list, like they'll ask us for a list of like sometimes of what players to put in, and it's all the usual suspects like McGillney and like Cavalier and all those guys. Bure is always in there, right? So they are doing that, their due diligence, and sometimes they get someone. Like the Bobby Orr one was incredible. I don't know how they did that, but Bure is a fan favorite that I hope gets put back in. Hey, slaves, if I want Crosby and I've started on the X-Factor, but I have enough to get halfway, should I work on that or buy the milestone? If you want a Sidney Crosby card, the X-Factor is what you should get just due to longevity. I don't know if he'll get a team of the season. So the X-Factor is probably, even if he does get one, you'll get a discount if you wanted to. But I wouldn't chase after the 93 milestone because you won't have that the whole year. I apologize why I'm yawning so much. It was a long 48 hours, fellas. I apologize. Hey, Sleeves, I was wondering if the team of the season cards are going to be 86 plus. Do you think it's worth it to make a CSMSP if you have enough 85s? Because if not, they'll be useless in team of the season. This is like what I have such a hard time with. I have spent the last 7 years making content for this game and like of the informative variety to try and help you guys that were like me, that didn't have a lot of time to play video games. So you have to go online, find someone to tell you exactly what to do to get you the most amount in the least amount of time. This year, they have changed everything, and maybe that was their goal. And I don't think that's a terrible thing to try and change things up. But like I mentioned, it's usually been changed for the sake of change and not an actual good change. Team of the season type event. So fantasy, team of the season, and team of the year. They operate differently. Even regardless of this content team, they always operate differently because EA knows that these cards are year-round cards. Now, this year, team of the year, they actually did a pretty good change where they made base items of the team of the year winners, right? And those base items, it allowed players that just started the game to get involved with the Team of the Year event. I actually think that was a good idea. That was one of the ones I think that was good. And then you had to use those and as well as collectibles to make the team of the season or team of the year card. So what I could see happening, um, I just don't know what the barrier of entry is going to be. Like I don't know if it'll operate in the same lines of 85s don't matter, 86s do. Part of me thinks that they will allow more cards to be used to trade in this event because they want everyone involved in the event. But man, I don't know. Because if I'm wrong, right, I like to be risk adverse in this. If I'm wrong and I say, yeah, go ahead and make an MSP and they allow 85s to be used, there isn't an MSP in this event, even a 93, that I would think is worth it over a team of the season item. That's just the reality of the situation. If this was the warp speed event, I would have greenlit that. It's a timing issue though. If the warp speed event was right now, which they should have done, that's what I would have, but not with the cornerstone event. Hey, slaves. I have a bit of a lineup question for the D pairings. I made both 92 Leach and Weber, and I want to make one of them into a 93, but I don't know which would help my lineup better. My first defense is 92 Boyle and Hannafin. My second is McAvoy and Hologram Lindstrom. My third pairing is Ekblad and Harley. And I was wondering which 93 would help me more. I'm a Rangers fan, but I want to win games, so if Weber is better than Leach, I'll make Weber. I also want to mention I'm in the middle of making Hologram Orr, but he wouldn't be in my lineup for another week. Anything with it. Ah, man, Jack, I just wish you would get out of that trapped, I'm a Rangers fan, but I want to win more. And there actually isn't anything wrong with that because if you want to play a video game for winning like that, like that scratches your competitive edge. I understand that. Weber is a better card in my opinion than Leach slightly. It's the truculence and the side. Man, but Leach has great abilities. I don't know what division you're in. If you're in Division 2 or Division and trying to get to Division 1, I would go Weber. If you're below that, I would go Leach because I don't think the difference in those lower divisions will matter nearly as much as in the higher divisions. Trade in all of your 85s for 87s this event before it flips over to 86s. 85s will become essentially useless after this event. This is again, there is a risk involved here. I think this might be the safest one, though, because, let's say it doesn't change and the 85s are available to make 87s. That would make all the 87s useless. So you've basically lost 2 85s going into the next event every single time you do this set. But on the side of caution, if it does flip up to 86s, you have saved yourself. So that might be the risk. If you have a lot of 85s, turning them into event items to 87s, I would do that. I think that's what I'm going to do as well. Hey, slaves, should I make Cornerstone Matt Sundin or just build up his power-up icon card? I have a Leafs theme team and plan on making Marlowe and Leach. If you are going to play in the summer, June rolls around and you are going to be playing Hut, then yes, I would make his power-up icon. His card needs to get to 99 because one of the things that the new content team is not doing is that the prior content teams would I remember the year Nicholas implemented Shadow, the old EA dev, implemented the speed going up by 0.5, which was actually a good change because it crushed McDavid's value and all the fast cards value because they would get to 99 speed, but then as the bigger cards would get up there, speed would go up +1 anytime there was an upgrade, and you would get 99 skaters very quickly, around 90 overall. It was brutal. So they implemented the 0.5 upgrade so that every 2 overalls you get a skating increase. The issue here is that in NHL 25, they have to literally get to 99 before they see that tick over. So what's happening is before, every other stat would get to 99 because they can't go above 99, right? You'd have a bunch of stats at 99, even at 94 overall. And what would happen is, okay, these are all 99. Skating has to go up by 3 on this upgrade to tick over the actual overall. right? So if there's a lot of 99 stats and the card is only 94 overall, right? They need to +1 everything that they are able to actually get to 95, right? Let's say. But what's happening is like I think skating is just simply removed from the overall equation. We see it with Sebastian Repo. In prior years, a 98 overall would be 99 skating pretty much across the board. And this year, they're like, nope, the .5 upgrade to skating is staying all the way up until 99. So that means you have to wait for a Matt Sundin card to get to 99 before his skating is like, I don't know, 93 or 4. Like it is pretty rough. So if you're gonna play into the summer, I would go with his icon card. If you're not, his cornerstone card is fine. It's gonna be better than his that card for a little while. Hi Sleeves, this is my first year playing Hut in NHL, and I'm just doing my first Hut Champs run. I've only gotten 2 wins in 11 games. I have a good team, pretty much all 92 plus, and I've just gotten to Div 5. I have to use Wi-Fi most of the time. Is there anything you would suggest to try to get better, as I just seem to get pushed into the corners or have poor shooting opportunities? Thanks. Understand, Hut Champs is not meant for you. When you're, I would say Hut Champs becomes an option at Division. There's an argument for Division 4, but I would say you're going to have a decent time when you hit Division 3. You should be able to get to around 10 wins every week. Maybe you struggle sometimes, but sometimes you get 11 wins, sometimes you get 9 wins, but Division 3 is right where is a good barometer. You are going to struggle a lot in Hut Champs, and you just have to be okay with that. You are playing better competition, so you might get a little bit better because you're playing against players that are so far and away better than you that they might just drag you up because you have to play better. You have to watch my settings and strategies video. It still applies. This is one of the years where gameplay has really changed the least from start of the year to end of the year. And a lot of that has to do with progression being a lot slower and that skating being a lot slower. But that is really it. To get out of Division 5, you need to learn a few set plays and know what to look for. And my strategies video will help you out with that. I give specific examples. That my strategies video, if you follow it to a T and learn the things that I'm trying to get across to you guys, you will get to Division 2. And the reason why I can confirm that is I'm in Division 2. I've been in Division 1 every single year. This is the first year I'm not in Division 1, and I'll get there eventually in the summertime. But that would be where I would start. This game is beyond broken. Up 4-0 in the first in Champs, and it disconnects yet again. Second time in 3 games over the last 4 days. That's how little I've played since this game broke again. NHL is one of those games where it suffers from like any sort of network issue. It immediately gets crushed. It doesn't hold on to the connection. Everyone goes through this, man. It's unfortunate. It stinks. I haven't had a lot of disconnects this year, but there has been years where it happens a ton. And there's just really not much you can do about it. Chara MSP today would save the Cornerstones event. This was obviously meant before the Cornerstones Week 2 dropped. Yeah, I think that this year has suffered quite a bit from the lack of popular names and the right names being picked for some of the events. The Sharpshooters one is the one that comes to mind the most. I think that the Cornerstone event would have been saved if if it just was literally the Gallery of Greats event, only with current players. I think that's how it should have been. This trade in 2 92s for 93 is just like so expensive. And you have to understand, HUD has not really changed in 5 years, right? Since the implementation of Team of the Year. The player base is smarter. We know that a big event is coming. When you tempt us with an expensive upgrade event, we're just not going to do it unless that upgrade is so far and away going to be great, like the Warp Speed event. We're just not going to do it. Cornerstone should have been first, then Warp Speed, then Team of the Season, and we might have had a banger, you know? Create a player. You can create one B&D player whose overall is the average of your best possible lineup. You have to choose his archetype, which sets his min-max height, weight, possible abilities, and overall spread until you hit 99. Every 5 or so overalls, you unlock new abilities. Here's the problem, man. It'd be cool to put like your own create a player in the game. What you would run into is someone would figure out the absolute best build, and that's all you would see. And the reason why I can confirm this is that's literally what happened in MLB. And MLB did it well where you played Road to the Show with your guy, and then that's how you upgraded your card in MLB for Diamond Dynasty. Everyone just ended up making submarine pitchers or switch hitting catchers, and it just, after a few years, becomes really lame. There was one other one I wanted to address here. I like this one. Good video chat here. Why don't you ever talk about stats for our players? You play MLB, you get stats. Almost nothing is forgotten. NHL 25, you make a hut team. However, you devise your team. Some just play theme teams, and that is cool. The problem is NHL doesn't keep stats. If they can't do that, then go back to X factors. Not every live series base card you mentioned, and make them so good that you don't trade them in for anything. I don't know why everyone just accepts this crappy operation and rolls over. The other thing is I just want to play online. It's impossible right now. I can't use them with the team I built. I don't do chores much, but I'm grinding the Game Breakers prizes. It was actually an okay objective. I can play hockey, but I'd rather play online. So a couple things here. The stats thing, 100%. The play, I've been saying this for years, the player base would benefit and enjoy this so much. So what he's talking about is being able to go into the cards and seeing all of your stats individually for the cards. The problem is in NHL, when you upgrade that card or anything like that, it like goes away and resets the stats. 100% is something in MLB that they do very well. First, they separate offline and online stats. So I can go into my lineup and see that even though I have the highest rated diamond card for a player, I'm batting 132. Okay, his swing isn't good for me. I'm not doing well with this player. Time to move on. In NHL, you just have goals, assists, plus, minus. Like, that's all you can really see of that card. You can go into the stats and whatnot and see certain other things too, but I would love it if they could separate online and offline, because we have to do so many chores that a lot of the stats get absolutely crushed because we're just shooting between the legs with the same player, right? And that doesn't do anything for us. So I agree with you here, man. 100%. I would love it if they could figure out online, offline stats so that we could actually make some lineup decisions. That's going to do it for Who Should You Choose? Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.